we are. We're recording. So this is Felicity here for, I think, the 5th episode of the Novocaine interviews series. If you guys want to go through and introduce yourselves and what you play.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here. Thanks for having us, man. I'm Damien, vocalist for Felicity.
I am Mike, bassist for Felicity.
I'm Andrew, I play guitar.
I'm Corey, I play guitar.
And I'm Tyler, and I play drums.
Awesome. So I want to go over first, like, how you guys got the name Felicity. How did that come about?
So I broke in the band. How did the band come about?
Yeah, the name for the band.
Name, okay. The name Damien came up with.
Well, yeah, I mean, oddly enough, I was reading a book and I saw that word because we were trying to name our band for a little while. And it's super awkward and it's hard to do, like, in the beginning because everyone hates it. And then finally we're like, oh, Felicity, I saw it in a book and I researched the definition of it and it actually meant to find happiness. So we're like, I brought it to everyone and everyone thought it didn't suck and they didn't hate it enough. So we kind of stuck with it. And then we kind of said, how does this mean to, like, what does this mean for us as a band? Like, and then we all understood and we said, hey, we all want music to be our life and it brings us happiness. So we were like, hey, I think Felicity is a great name for the band. And that's how it came to be.
More so it didn't suck and we didn't hate it.
Yeah.
That's really the important factor.
That is the truth. Like,
It's the hardest thing, yeah.
Like,
That's
all the other names
benchmark
were
standard.
horrible, right? All the other names were
Yeah,
horrible.
I don't even remember what the other options were. They probably were not good.
I like
You want to
Delilah
call us
Flowers.
Passing Trend? Wasn't that one of
No, that was a
Pass-
song. That was a song name.
Passing Trend?
Chris, they hate, like, my song suggestion names. Like, Passing Trend was one of them. It was One Last Chance. It was going to be Passing Trend, and they just
was
ripped
not
it
gonna
apart.
be passing.
No.
It was Passing Trend made it to the second one, and then just got voted out. So
Passing Trend.
yeah, I gave up.
Man. That's brutal. I wanted to...
The meaning of Felicity is, like, people can take it and just, like, the message is do what makes you happy. And for us, playing music makes us happy, and we want to do that with the rest of our lives. So the meaning, like, we want to, share with other people of follow your dreams and do what makes you happy and chase that. And we feel like that's, like, our, all of our purpose on this world. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. You guys make awesome music, and it's kind of awesome to see a message in the song that you can kind of connect with. A lot of bands, they tend to focus too much on the craft of the song and not so much on the message, and it absolutely comes through when you see you guys play live. Just, you guys are up there having fun. None of it looks forced. You guys don't look like you're stressed unless someone's, XL cable went out or something. But
Nothing like that will take you out of the mood. Like, you're having a great show and you're having a blast, and then your equipment starts messing up, and it just legit, like, takes you out of the moment. And, like,
Well,
man.
strange enough, that's happened to us at one show, and we just jumped into the crowd and we just started jumping around with them until the music started coming back on, and our amp started working again, and it was as if it never happened. So we were like, hey, man, we'll make the best of any situation, kind of like that.
yeah, those are the little things that you learn, I guess, as being an artist in a band over time. Hey, this is what we need to do now.
The one thing, because if you look like you're panicking or you look like you're worried, that's the only thing people are going to remember.
Yeah.
But if you play it off, or if you just go with it and have fun and figure it out the next song, whatever, and do the best you can, like, no one's honestly, most of the time, people aren't going to notice. And even if they do, they're just going to, laugh it off with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know you guys worked with Wade Studios, right, on a couple of your EPs?
Yes.
How
We did,
was that
absolutely.
experience?
Corey. You want to take this one?
Corey?
Yeah. Honestly, probably just
Yeah.
cookie.
Corey's got cookies on cookie crumbs on
We've
his
been
shoulder.
we've been eating a lot of cookies. We're really
So
good.
it's like, the experience itself was surreal because, all of us growing up, we looked up to Andrew Wade, like, we loved Today to Remember and the bands he worked with. So when we were recording Brace Yourself or about to, we were trying to decide where to record. And then we just were like, yeah, let's send an email and see. And when he was like, yeah, I like it, let's do it. We were like, what the fuck? Like,
That's
Pretty
crazy.
just, yeah, professional, yet how relaxed everything he was, and there was no stress. Like, he didn't make you feel stupid or dumb. Like, he would joke and, and have fun with you, but he really cares about the product as much as you do. So it really just helped us to find what the song was going to be, where it needed to go. And I mean, yeah.
That being said, everything that he said, I second, but he will push you to find your true potential, I feel, in terms of he won't let anything slide. And, with my other recordings, and the guys as well with their guitar parts as well, sometimes we would write the things that we could as best as we could, but he brings a new level out of you. And that's something that you can never take for granted, and I will always appreciate him
It's
for
like,
that.
like if you think you care about your songs, like he cares twice as much for it.
Wow.
He doesn't care just about the song or the money. Like, he cares about the artist, the band. He checks with you to see, all right, so what are you going to do after you release it? Like, what's your plan? Like, he really cares a lot. And it's like you're almost collaborating with like a family member. You're working with like a parent or somebody who is a mentor to you. It doesn't feel like you're just paying somebody to record your songs.
That's
Yeah, and
awesome.
He has incredibly high standards. If his name's going to go on it, it's going to be top notch. And if that means you have to be pushed and you have to work on that part all day until it's perfect, that's what it takes. And that's why every album he's put out by every artist is usually that artist's best record. Like, if you look at it, most of the bands he's worked with, most people who love a Day to Remember, their favorite albums are the one Andrew did with him. And a lot of people love Neck Deep, like their favorite album is the one Andrew did. And
Or Issues.
Issues, Motionless in White, like a lot of people's favorite album is Ghost Inside. Like, yeah. So, and he's working with a lot of more bands. He now, like Real Friends and Attila and stuff. So I'm expecting a lot of other cool stuff to come
I
out. For
believe
sure.
Bay Street's over at Wade Studios too, recording right now too. A bunch of like local bands are like, "Hey, we're going to record with Wade," and I'm like, "Oh God, this is gonna be great."
Really a luxury to have him in Orlando and willing to work with local bands, because he could easily just take national acts and
Absolutely.
sound if he wanted to, but he really likes developing artists and understands that if he has more bands under his umbrella that are up and coming, and then he's able to help them make it bigger, then it's just more to his resume.
Absolutely. And that's what's kind of nice about you guys willing to do an interview with me for my page right now, is that I'm like really in the beginning of this like kind of growing experience, and you guys are kind of doing what Wade's doing with you guys, and you guys are taking and saying, "Hey, I'll do this interview with you, and all your fans are going to see it now," and it helps me come up as well as it helps you come up. And I've been talking to people about that all day, and that's a really special thing when people are willing to help their scene grow rather than just look out for their own needs.
It's a family, man. The music scene's a family.
Absolutely. So one of my favorite songs is Weekend Warrior, and I was curious, who is the Weekend Warrior in Felicity?
I think all of us.
That's a great question. But I would say all of us, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean,
All of us. The song itself really goes along with what we explained in our band title. It's like, so many of us you don't waste time, but you have to do what you have to do to survive. You're a 9-to-5 job. Like, we all still have 9-to-5 jobs. Like, we wish this could be all we do, but at this stage, it can't. And so, but we're utilizing that 9-to-5 job to pursue our dreams and still chase after it, and not using it as an excuse of, oh, well, I have work tomorrow, so I can't do the band, or I can't take that hobby to the next level, or I can't start my own business, or I can't, whatever your dream, or I can't start a podcast because I have work. Like, songs about, the feeling of every morning when you wake up and you have to work, when you wish you could be pursuing those dreams, but then the message at the end is, put your interests first and always chase after what those goals and dreams are. And that's kind of what we encompass with that song, which is, I think, why a lot of people relate to it, and it's a lot of people's favorite song.
Absolutely. I actually heard it, the first time I heard it, I was working a labor job for a private contractor. So I was literally doing demo work while I heard this, and I think it was right before the Bat Ranch show with We Were Sharks, So like
Yeah.
I think that was a Friday night. So I went and I because it was a BYOB show. I got wasted and I was just like, this is the song that's gonna set off my weekend. And so yeah, it's got a special meaning to me because that's kind of what got me through that kind of job, was listening to local bands all day long in my headphones, so I didn't have to, complain to myself that, oh man, I'm swinging a jackhammer. This is miserable.
We're right there with you, man, which is why we write music to help us get through the week, It's why we play shows to help us get through the week, and that's why we wrote it, so we're glad you enjoy it, for sure.
I would like to go through, get at least three of you guys, what inspired you to be a musician?
Okay, who do you want first?
Yeah, take your
You guys can decide. It's all you.
Answer
All
first.
right. What made me decide to be a musician?
Yep.
Yeah, this is an awesome question. I think for sure
He was bad at sports. I gotta do something else to get
yeah,
chicks.
I loved sports. No, in all seriousness, just the fact. I see you laughing over there. Just the fact that in this profession or whatever you want to call it, you're able to connect with people on such a level that I feel like I can't get that connection in anything else that I do.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I can truly give them the feeling in a song that they kind of like you talked about in Weekend Warrior, just give that person a feeling and make them get through the day or help them out in some way, and in some way connect with them and really be meaningful to them and impactful in their life. And I feel like there's nothing else out there that I can do besides being a musician that can give me that feeling. And that's really what made me want to be a musician and continue doing it, even though it's super hard. But I'm there for the long haul.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, you can play.
So my answer is a little bit more simplified than Damien's. I know, actually, before that even came out, I went and saw the movie School of Rock in theaters back in, what was it, 2000?
We were kids,
I
yeah.
don't know. I was just a little kid. And
Childhood.
that, it just inspired me. And I wanted to be like, who's the drummer of that? Freddie or something? Yeah.
Ready?
I wanted to play drums. I tried guitar first, and I was like, I didn't have the conditions for it. And that movie inspired me. And then I discovered the Foo Fighters and Dave Grohl, and
I was waiting for you to say that.
that's a whole other story right there. Oh, man, that guy's my idol, so. Push me.
He's got tattoos of Dave Grohl, everything, man. I think he's showing you.
Probably
Do you have Dave Grohl's face on your arm or something?
It's on my back.
Oh my god. That's great. Is it like a whole back piece?
It's probably like this big.
Oh my
pretty
god.
big.
It's pretty big.
He's hoping Dave Grohl will see it one day and be like, whoa.
Yeah. You can get the signature
It's me.
tattooed. That'd be
He's
perfect.
truly.
My buddy
I
did
would
that with Craig Owens from Chiodos. He got a Chiodos inspired tattoo. I think it was like a Peter Pan tattoo, and he had Craig Owens sign his foot, and he had it tattooed on it. So he's got Craig Owens tattoo on his foot.
That's awesome, to be honest.
I love that band.
They're great. I really wish they didn't kind of deteriorate. I wish they had kind of done something like Johnny did with Slaves, where Johnny Craig left Omarosa and all the projects that he was doing and just said, fuck it, I'm going to do my own thing. I guess Craig's kind of done that with Bad Channels, but it hasn't had the success that Chiodos
We had
had.
that band, Slugs, that did one album that was amazing, but it was also kind of a super group. It
Yeah.
had guys
It was Matt
From
Good, Craig
and Nashville
Owens.
Grove, I think, and so that was amazing, and that was kind of just like a year fun thing. But if he started a new band, I would 100% be into it for sure.
Absolutely. He just got married recently, I saw. I thought he was already married and at that point of his life where he's getting on with it, which is why he's not doing too much music anymore, but it's pretty cool. It's interesting to see what I call legacy bands either make comebacks or still make music and kind of see the evolution of where they were 10, 15 years ago to now. I just did an album review for Emery's new album, and it was just like night and day if you listen to what they. It's the 7th album, so they're 7 albums in, pretty deep, but
Yeah.
like it's interesting to see the sound evolve from an EP to the most current full release, and it's just it's a fun thing to watch your bands that you grew up on kind of evolve, and then as you grow up.
Yeah, a lot of people like hate on a band for changing their style or sound, but a lot of these bands, like, I mean, we feel like we've been together forever, but compared to most bands, like this, like, a band like Atreyu, which has been together since the 90s, and
Oh my God, yeah.
they started like modern metalcore music, and now they don't want to do metalcore anymore. Like, they've earned the right. They've had 10 albums. If they want to make country music, they can make country music wherever they want. And Lit is a country band.
Lit is a country band.
No
now.
way, for real?
Yeah, so they were on the Warped Tour cruise we did, and we went to watch them, and we were like, this is a lot of country music. And then they're playing like My Own Worst Enemy and a couple other hits from the olden days. And it's like, you can tell it's the same band, but it's so different.
Hey, it sounded good.
Yeah.
Like, I give them that.
And they still had a crazy good crowd.
Yeah.
So.
How
Gotta
was
do your
that
thing.
experience doing it was Warped Rewind at sea, right?
Yes, that was it.
That was insane. That was probably the most fulfilling thing we've done as musicians, is getting to play that and be asked to play on a cruise ship for Warped Tour fans and go to Mexico and
With some of your favorite bands. I mean,
we're on the promotional material in the lineup with bands like Hawthorne Heights and Good Charlotte, Story of the Year we looked up to forever, and kind of just been be treated as an equal. Like, a lot of times if you're a smaller band and you're invited to a festival, it's like you're on the local stage and you're lucky to be here. And that was one of the times where, like, we had the same credentials as the other bands, and like definitely took full advantage of it. They paid us, and they paid us, and they gave us beer, and
Awesome.
we were able to be could go anywhere. Like, it was awesome.
We talked to Dan from Story of the Year so much that we asked him if he could play a song with us, and he actually came on stage and he did it, which was
Insane.
I think I told you about it, but it was absolutely phenomenal to have your idol right next to you singing a tribute to Linkin Park as well. Like we did one step, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, to play that song, to play it with your idol, and to be on that stage in that cruise was a dream come true. And I'll never forget that.
I was actually more nervous doing that than any other thing I've done at a band, because Dan Marsala from Story of the Year is on stage with us, and I'm just like, if I'm going to mess up, do not mess up this, because it will make him look bad, and he'll immediately be like, this band sucks. Why did I agree to do this?
I know.
So I was like so focused. Like, you've been to a bunch of Felicity shows, you know how like high energy we are.
Yeah.
If you watch, I'm like staring at my hand, like, okay, and you hit that 8 times. Okay, now go back to the A. Like, I'm like zoned in. Do not mess up.
I definitely only remember like a few seconds from it, because it's just like it was like that. So, but after we were having some drinks with Dan, so at least we know it happened. We took pictures, so we know it happened.
I mean, plus you're on a cruise ship with all these OG like super like awesome bands. So like if you screw up this set, you have to live it. You have to live it for the next day or two on the same ship with these bands, and look at them and be like, I can't believe I messed that up.
Well, I mean, it was like a very short time. So, like, when we got selected and asked to do it, we're like, want to participate in this like Halloween thing. We're like, yeah. And they're like, all right, well, you got like a week and a half to like learn the song and everything. And we're like, dude, we got to get 75 minutes worth of material for the set.
75 minutes.
So we were like, we got to. So we had to like go through a whole discography.
We played every song we'd ever written,
everything,
and then like 6 covers.
like we just went far back to like D-side stuff.
Oh my god, that would have been amazing.
Learn this song, and you could tell like there were some bands that took it very serious and did like insane covers of it, and then there were other bands who were like, we're just doing it for fun.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was as serious as we felt it was.
Yeah, but there was no like it was the final night of the cruise on the main stage. There was nothing else going on. All the bands, all the fans were in the crowd for that set, and like every band that was on the cruise was invited to do it. So it's kind of like an open mic thing. Like Bowling for Soup would jump up and do a cover of an artist they like, and
Medina Lake did Michael Jackson.
Medina Lake came up and did a song, and so we were like, so when we got out, it was like, you guys are next, and we're like, the fact that we got to do it and Dan Marcella did it with us, and we have video and photos of us playing a song with him is like forever bucket list material.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's fucking awesome. So, I wanted to ask you guys, again, this is, you don't all have to answer this, but what is your favorite track off your most recent release?
Would that technically be
So we released 3 songs this past year, which
Singles.
we kind of released them as singles. We did kind of something non-traditional. Most bands, what they do is they'll record an album or an EP, and they'll release it, and people get it, and they listen to it, and they're like, they dig it, or whatever. What we decided to do was we recorded 6 songs, and we released half of them, and we released them once every couple months, so that we kind of were giving you guys more content more often versus just dropping them all on you. So we released 3 of them. Those 3 songs were Weekend Warrior, Circles, and The City Beautiful. We have 3 whole other ones that haven't been released, and we're packaging them all together, and we're going to release, it as an EP here shortly. We'll be announcing. We're working out the final details and stuff.
All the work and everything.
And all our work. So there's still 3 songs you haven't even heard of off the new release. But out of that release, Circles has been doing awesome things for us. Like, people are loving that song, and it's our most played song on Spotify. We just hit 100,000 plays, and we have songs like "Burn the World," which has always been one of our favorite songs, and like Circles already has 5 times the amount of plays that one does. So it's like already crazy. For me, there's a song called "Tough Luck." It's probably my favorite, and we already filmed a music video for it, and it's going to be on the record. So I'm really excited to release that one. It's really fun to play, and I don't know, I just always am excited before we play it. I'm like, yes, it's that time of the day to play Tough Luck.
I'd have to say another unreleased one, like Drew said, Tough Luck. But there's another song that's called.
You'll do one that's released.
Okay.
Oh yeah. All right. Should I?
No, go for it.
It's another song. It's gonna be the I think the first track on this new EP. I think it's Trigger Happy is one of my favorite. I really think that a lot of people are gonna find a lot of different elements in there. The harder side of it, the softer side, a banging chorus, and I think there's a lot of elements in there. And I really think that if you like Felicity, that you're really gonna enjoy that song. So.
And also because it's completely kind of unrelated, but the song Trigger Happy, what it started as was a song that was written before, I think just Damien and I wrote it.
Yeah, it was.
Before these guys were in the band. So when a lot of these guys auditioned, they would learn that song, and we would play it at shows. We never recorded it, really.
No.
Then we kind of rewrote it 500 times and then gave it to Andrew Wade, and we rewrote it again with him. And so now that's like the final thing you're getting. So it's kind of like one of the songs that's, and in its core, has been with us since the very beginning, which is really cool.
Seems very fitting.
That is really cool. That's actually really, really cool. That kind of leads on to my next question, which is, like you said, you guys have released 3 songs already, and you're gonna release another 3, and but what's next for Felicity as far as like big moves? What are you guys planning? I mean, what can you talk about that you're planning? Let's put it that way.
You can't really say what it is, but within the next probably month and a half, I would say just stay relevant with our social media handles, just keep updated, because we're going to be releasing a big announcement for the beginning of the year, and then there's going to be another thing happening during that same time as that announcement, also in the beginning of the year, that is relation to that, that is going to be beyond.
You're doing such a good job right now.
It's going to be beyond.
We'll get this spoiled.
And then,
We're trying to release a record at some point. It'll be released.
yes.
We have two
That was
music
it.
videos that will eventually be released from that. We're in the process of booking our first tour of 2019.
Woo!
And on top of that, we're going to do a big album release show in Orlando eventually. So, like, everyone in Orlando will come, be able to get the record.
And we're writing
And-
full length.
And then we're writing our next record. So while we're planning on releasing this,
Busy, man.
we're
Busy.
writing the next record. We want to be our first ever full-length record. So at least, hopefully 10 songs at least.
So we're gonna write probably 80 and narrow it down to 10.
We,
Oh my
we
god!
can
For,
play-
are you joking? Or are you seriously writing 80 songs?
No, we'll probably
we're
write.
on our way there.
We'll probably write anywhere.
If
between-
everything that was submitted as like, hey guys, I came up with an idea, then maybe there's 80.
We'll probably.
It's a lot of fat.
We'll probably get 15 to 20 songs, maybe 25, and then from before we
Yeah, probably.
Is that the
maybe.
deluxe edition? Including 5 new songs.
Yeah, that's about everything.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
So I think it's a lot.
Whole
Right?
shebang.
That is-
we're
that is
busy. We
awesome. That's huge.
Expect a country hidden track.
There's no country hidden tracks. No
You don't know that.
There has to be a country
We have-
hitting track now. Like it's got to be a thing.
it should be.
we got the first rough draft of one of the music videos today, and it's pretty ridiculous. It's pretty badass.
Is that the one that Aaron shot? Aaron Berkshire?
No, so Aaron has just shot some live stuff for us.
Okay.
We the same guy who did City Beautiful, which was kind of ridiculous, over the top,
Mhm.
did this one. And this one's like, if on a scale of 1 to 10 on the ridiculous scale, City Beautiful is probably a 6.5 compared to this one, which is probably closer to a 9 or a 10.
Oh my god.
So yeah,
So we like to have that fun side of ourselves as well. You know, like we have to like serious side, but we joke around with each other constantly. So like we might as well put
it's
it in
hard
our
for us to be
music video.
serious for too long. Like we'll write a song like Circles and be like, all right, this music video has to be serious because it's about some serious subject matter. So like, can't be any dick jokes or fart jokes in it. And so now it's like, all right, well, this song we can have to
We
get
can
out
have
all
that,
of our
yeah.
ridiculousness because it's a little bit more fun.
Yeah, that's how we are. So
You guys write a
Like-
really serious song, and then you write something like the Blowjob song by Blink-182. That goes unreleased until you become big, and then you gotta. So I did want to ask you guys, what was your first concert like that you personally went through? If we can go through and get everyone's answer on that, that'd be really cool.
First concert we went to. Okay.
Yeah, my lifetime. My first one was System of a Down.
Ooh.
It was at the Bank Atlantic Center in Fort Lauderdale. The opening acts were, oh my gosh, the Mars Volta and Bad Acid Trip.
I remember that.
And it was, I was high up, not like nosebleed, but I could see the pit. And the pit literally engulfed the entire floor of the Bank Atlantic Center for System of a Down.
What?
Crazy. And I remember thinking, that's very intense. I don't know if I could handle that because I was a senior in high school and I had never been to a show that big before. And my ears were ringing afterwards for a while. I had never experienced that. And it was badass. They played a great set. They sounded great. Just the visuals were awesome. And they played all the hits that I wanted to hear. It was
They're
first
amazing
show.
live
It was a great first show. And I got to see their last show when they played Ozfest. And the very last Ozfest date was West Palm Beach, and I went to that show and saw their very last set.
Wow.
What about you, Dan?
I'm trying to remember. It had to
It was
be.
Goo Goo Dolls, right?
It could have been Goo Goo Dolls. I'm not sure. It had to be Silverstein or Census Fail. One of those. I think they might have been touring together. So I think that was the show. And
I think they were.
yeah, I was blown away by just Buddy from Census Fail, and I was like, man, I want to do that. So I think that was
My parents took me to a Leonard Skinner concert, kind of against my will, but like I was actually about it when I got there because Leonard Skinner's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But I was little. But then the first show, like I went out of my way to go to, and like I made my friends we all bought tickets and like we drove to the place ourselves. Like we had just gotten our driver's license. We were able to drive to the venue. Was right at the same time. It was 2006. Croyd and Cambria released Good Apollo, and the same month, Avenged Sevenfold released City of Evil. So like, Backcountry was like in heavy rotation, and Welcome Home had just come out. So I think both those bands were kind of almost at their like they're still all going in their bands, but like they were like still young, where they were trying to put on the most insane show they could, but they were still young and had only so much material, so that they like gave it their all. And I pushed my way all the way to the front of the barricade, and I'll never forget that show. And Cody and Cambria became like my favorite band that night because they were so good live, and I still will go see them every single chance I get.
Hell yeah.
I wish. Are you kidding me? That'd be fucking sick, dude. No, my very first concert that I can remember, my dad took me to go see Hootie and the Blowfish.
Dude, that is great. That is great.
Yeah.
Hootie is
Nothing but hits.
My dad, like when I was younger, would take me to all these old like Beach Boys concerts, Hootie and the
I
Blowfish.
didn't know
Like,
it was Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah.
Sing a chorus.
dude, I couldn't even tell you. Yeah, if you like there's that, and then I went to a bunch of like local shows like throughout high school and like concerts like Warped Tour and like 97X, like stuff like that. But then my next like real major concert that was like important was Bob Dylan.
Ooh,
That was right in my senior year, high school.
That's the thing is, I went to Warped Tour when I was probably like 14 or 15.
Yeah, I think I saw.
But you saw so many bands, and
so
it's
I
like
don't,
a whole
I don't
world.
really count like festivals as like my first show. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like a different experience. But like the first like concerts that I can really remember like, going to actively were Hootie and the Blowfish and Bob Dylan.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
What about you, Tyler?
We obviously know this answer.
All right. This is as far back as I can remember. I'm pretty sure there was probably something before this, but this is as far back.
Yeah, I was forgetting.
It was, this one really stuck out to me the most, is my sister had an extra ticket because her friend failed. I went to go see Blackeyed Peas,
Wow.
and then Pussycat Dolls opened up for her. So I was like right up in the front, just watching these girls dance. And I was
That's why you know some of our songs are like that.
awesome.
Pussycat Dolls are heavily influenced
Very
on the
heavy.
new record.
100%. You'll hear a lot of that.
I just remembered my mom, when I was in high school, my mom's friend had front row tickets to when Christina Grimmie was like really popular, and she did this whole like tour with like her and a bunch of like Disney Channel singer-songwriters. And so she was like, "You want these tickets?" And so
Disney?
there's like a couple of like 2 or 3 like Disney stars and like some other
Jonas Brothers?
Now I understand. Now, every time we're in the car now, all he wants to listen to is Disney songs.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't fault you. I'm not even gonna say it's my guilty pleasure. Growing up, I was a massive Jonas Brothers fan, like hardcore. But I'd listen to Jonas Brothers, and then I'd switch over to like In Fear and Faith, like the next song. So I got some definite like weird looks.
Backstreet Boys, so I can't.
Yeah, that's
Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, all the boy bands when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's
Do
no
you see
shit.
that video? There's a really funny video. I think it's Joe Jonas playing a guitar solo.
Oh, yeah.
Really bad job.
That was like a couple years ago.
It was a couple years ago.
That was years ago.
It was at the VMAs or
I thought it was the
Fuck
country.
yeah, I wanna see that.
I thought it was
Something
like
like that.
some country thing or
It
whatever.
was bad.
We don't need hate from the
But he's
Jonas
really good at guitar. You just had a bad night, I
know,
guess.
I know.
Yeah.
I just
That
thought,
was a really bad.
I thought the riff wasn't that hard, but he just botched it.
We don't need hate from the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah, right? They're gonna tweet at us and tell people not to follow us.
Oh no,
Dude, what are you doing right now?
He did his best. He was doing his best.
He did his best.
My first concert was Hawthorne Heights and Yellow Card on the Lights and Sounds tour. And it was on the lawn in Providence, Rhode Island, in front of the State House. So it was an outdoor show, and I can remember being freaked out because I had never been to a show before, and a massive pit broke out, and it was raining like an hour before the show started. So huge chunks of dirt and grass, and just started throwing them at each other, and they were covered in mud, and it was like crazy. People actually got kicked out because there was a massive mud pit, and like there was massive chunks of grass missing because people just ripped it out of the ground and started whipping it around. It was crazy.
How about that for your first experience?
It was incredible. My second concert was the Nintendo Fusion Tour with the Sleeping Emery, Hawthorne Heights, and Reliant K. And I think that was it. It was. Oof.
On the cruise, Hawthorne Heights was there, and we tried to talk to every musician we could, just to be like, when are we going to get a chance to talk to these guys again?
Yeah.
And Matt, the bass player, his original bass player, like made buddy with Corey and hung out with us like the majority of the time. Like he would just hang out with us and smoke cigarettes and talk about music and hang out. And so they're coming to Orlando next month, and
I know.
I'm like, Corey, and tell him to get us side stage or something.
Yeah, that's going to be a bomb show. As Cities Burn, Capstan, Hawthorne Heights, and frickin' Silverstein. Oh my god.
And Silverstein's playing the what is it, 15 year?
When Broken Can't Be Fixed 10 year, plus the greatest hits set list.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I was out there Discovering the Waterfront album anniversary tour, and that was so good. So I'm excited for that.
I didn't make that one. I got to make, I think like the most recent big 10 year I did was I Set My Friends on Fire 10 year for You Can't Spell Slaughter, and that was fucking nuts.
We all did I did the Census Fail, Let It Unfold You, and we did Still Searching. Yeah, those were both really good too.
So kind of wrapping things up, again, thanks for like coming on, guys. This was awesome. But what are your top 3 current favorite bands right now?
Easy.
The Wonder Years.
Beartooth.
Did you guys go to the Beartooth show?
Yeah. We went to that show on Sunday night in Orlando, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm gonna have to give it to Beartooth right now. Yeah. All right, fine.
Wonder Years.
I'm really digging the new Ice Nine Kills album. It's really cool, especially because I'm like obsessed with horror movies. So like that's awesome. Like I'm going to see them next month. So I'm really excited for that. Neck Deep, like they're absolutely amazing, live and recorded.
And I'll give it to Trash Boat.
Trash Boat's
killing it.
Trash Boat is insanely awesome. And really nice dudes. Yeah. What about you, What are you listening to?
I'm listening to Don Broco right now.
Whoa.
I saw them at Warped. They were so good. I'd never heard of them before. I was like, ooh.
I'm actually going to see them on Saturday. They're opening up for Mike Shinoda.
Mike Shinoda series.
Yeah. They're opening up for him.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Or I missed every set.
Yeah, I didn't see it. Everyone, it was one of those bands, everyone was like, go see Don Broco, you won't regret it. And I was like, and I didn't go. And now I regret it.
I was kind of wandering around. I just kind of happened to be in front of the stage at the right time they were playing. And I think I caught like 2 songs at the end of their set, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Gotta check those guys out, yeah. Tyler's on.
So for my last question, I wanted to ask you guys, if you could go on tour with any headliner of your choosing, who would it be?
Story of the Year.
Jesus, man, this is hard.
That would be sick if Story of the Year did a real full, like if they did an anniversary tour of like Page Avenue, and we got yeah,
that would be fucking amazing.
Metallica. I love Metallica, and they would be the most insane crowds ever. So if you had to like twist them out and be like any band, Metallica.
Well, that's the point. It's like any band. It doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
band.
Yeah, well, other than like the Beatles or Led Zeppelin or like Pink Floyd, yeah, Metallica.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, yeah.
Me,
Foo Fighters
sure.
would be amazing, yeah.
Hanging out backstage with Dave, taking shots at them before the show. That's like a dream.
Blink-182 would be super
Yeah,
fun.
Blink-182 I think would be awesome. I'd have to go with that.
Corey,
I don't know, probably Katy Perry.
Katy Perry,
Yeah.
Jonas
I saw her
Brothers.
on Warped Tour way back in the day.
Jonas Brothers back in.
Jonas Brothers back in the mix.
Now they don't hate it.
Yeah, my friend Jesse is Katy Perry's drum tech on tour right now, or the tour that had or whatever. So every day he was like posting pictures of just like all the places and everything they're doing.
Fall Out Boy would be absolutely
Oh
awesome
my
too.
God,
Fall Out
dude.
Boy would be like up there.
Or Brandon Urie. Yeah.
Or Panic, yeah.
Or no, when they do A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, when they do a reunion tour for that, yeah.
I feel like you guys would do very well on a lineup like Panic or Fall Out Boy, especially with the sound that you have. You'd like Insta fans.
Yeah, we need a few pop songs.
Yeah.
More pop songs, yeah.
Light it up.
We're kind of in that middle ground where it's like we could open for Metallica or we could open up for Panic at the Disco.
Absolutely.
And we
Have to change our sound.
that's where we exist as music fans, you know? Like,
Yeah, truly.
we were going to Warped Tour since we were kids, and like you're going to the metal stage and you're going to see people like Katy Perry, or you're going to see people like Sum 41, and the very next day you're seeing the very next breath you're seeing Every Time I Die, or
I think Warped Tour really allowed that
Yeah.
process for you to get all those different genres mixed together. I think that we're a product of that.
yeah.
You know what I
If
mean?
we only wrote pop punk music or only wrote our heavier style music, I think we would kind of feel bored to some
Yeah.
extent. So
Because I always like to go and cross
like
genres
you do a little both.
because that's what we like. You know?
I think that's why Warped Tour was so successful, because it had that melting pot of tons of different genres, and it wasn't just, hey, here's a couple of hardcore bands and a couple pop punk bands. It's like, hey, Katy Perry's on this stage, Ice Nine Kills is on the next stage, Willem Control is on behind us, Family Force 5 is going on soon, and then right after them you have Whitechapel. It's like just everything under the sun.
Warped Tour became a genre. Like, oh, it's a Warped Tour band, you know?
Exactly.
Okay, that's anywhere in this range,
Yeah.
but they must have great energy and they must have really, really polished sound. And you know that, like, if they're on Warped Tour, you have some type of expectations and standards, you know, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. This was really fun. We'll have to do this again sometime. This was Felicity with the Novocaine, and thank you guys for coming out. Have a great night. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedule. I know it's really busy to come and do this interview, so it was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. With some new music soon,
Definitely.
and out on the road very soon.
Thanks for supporting local bands.
Look
I
for them
love it.
soon, guys. Look for them soon. They're going to be coming through.
Yeah, see you guys.